cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is For Women Wednesday. I'm your host, Freddie G, joined by my co-host, K Money, slash Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and for all my YouTubers, don't forget to like and subscribe. And welcome to another For Women Wednesday. All right, fellas. So today's topic, man, I want to talk about mothers. Now, although the title of this show is For Mothers Only, but all women should know this, oftentimes here in our country, I can't speak for other countries, but here in the U.S., it seems like the women have more rights to the children or the child than men do. We're equal parents. So I'm not just talking about men who are not in the home with the mom. Sometimes these are married men, and it seems as if mom has more say when it comes to the children than a man do. Mm-hmm. And so even if you're going to the schools and y'all show up as a couple and you're going to the school about your child, it doesn't have to be nothing bad, but just a parents-teacher conference. It seems like the women are the ones that they speak to the most about the child, as if they're only talking to one parent. Why do y'all think that is?
Well, we grew up in a generation that didn't have many fathers in the household, so I think they just used to that demographic, which it's obviously has changed because you got a lot of fathers now that are present, which is really no excuse. But that's my opinion on why they act that way today.
Right. Mm-hmm. Also, okay, now these days, not only you have to deal with, like you just said, that the fathers are not in the house. At the same time, you have to deal with the court systems, right? Now you bring in the court system here. You have, I think, two types of fathers. You have fathers that want to be in their lives and fathers that don't want to be. It's one or the other, right? So once you bring the court systems in there, that can play a big part of it too.
Play a big part on them still not acknowledging.
Okay. So just say it's a father that wanted to be with their child, but he wasn't where he was supposed to be in life, financially.
Okay.
So the power is going to be, the court's going to listen to the woman. She's going to listen to the child, the primary, and probably make her that primary person, right? So now that means she get to make these shot calls. Okay, he only can see him every other weekend, but she is with that child, a son or daughter, every day, instilling and putting stuff in their brains to, your daddy ain't this, your dad that, and the next any time the daddy don't show up or do what he was supposed to do, that's just one little stepping stone for her to say, this is what I'm telling you. So now she's building that child's head up to despise the daddy. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it is messed up when it's just that, when that primary person has the rights to that child most of the time. You give them.
Let me step in real quick on and say that what I think why the women are mainly talked to or addressed or seem more interesting in what's going on with the child, I think it's just a natural thing for women to hold themselves accountable for their child. So I think it's just normal brain thinking.
Right.
Where if the woman carried the child for 9 months, then she's more responsible with the child than the man would be any day.
That's
So I think it's just a normal thought here in America that we have, or some people have, on a woman bearing a child to be more accountable for whatever goes on in that child's life.
on a personal this is on a personal note. Sometimes Freddie G had a show a couple of weeks back, and there was part about different types of dad on your show. There was a fun dad. You remember the fun dad? That's the dad that show up on the weekends, pick the child up, and go.
That was your Disney dad.
Disney, there it is, fun dad, Disney dad. So sometimes, a lot of times, not sometimes, the mothers don't like the Disney dad because the kid always wants to be with the dad, and the mom is doing the most of the disciplining, all the other stuff. So sometimes the mom get upset with that because it's like it's all he come around for, and all they see is the fun side of dad, and it aggravates some moms sometimes. You get what I'm saying?
So let me say this. So I want to touch on that, but I want to backtrack for a second where you mentioned the courts, and if dad is not where he is financially in life and things of that nature. So let me touch on that for a hot second.
Okay.
So what happens when you are a mom that live on Section 8 that you don't have much and you're not financially where you need to be? It still doesn't change the fact that we made this child together.
True.
And since we made this child together, we should be able to co-parent equally. Now, I get it that if we're not together, the child has to stay in one home.
Right.
And I get where you as the mom may need assistance from the government to take care of the child, such as welfare and Section 8 and things of that nature. But it still doesn't change the fact that because the child lives with you, that you have more of the rights to the child. There is such a thing as some an order, especially if I'm paying child support.
Right.
There is such a thing as a court order to where we can equally share the rights to the child. And it just seems as if here in the U.S., and I can't speak for other countries, it just seems as if some kind of way this has programmed the mothers
To feel
like this is my child and my child only. And the only time it's your child. The only time it's your child. And this is saying that they're unconscious when they do this. The only time it's your child is when you are not doing what I expect you to do for your child.
Yeah, right. That's them, man.
And so that's where it seems kind of jacked up. Now, in regards, I want to touch on the Disney dad for a hot second. You gave the example Comedian 96 in regards to that, and I feel that, I understand it. But what I'm speaking of is the example you gave is of man that's outside the household. I'm speaking of parenting, period. Whether you are married in the household
or outside
the household. At the end of the day, it seems as if mom is held as if she is the sole parent of the child.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And if I'm married to you, and we're going to a parents teacher conference, I need the teacher to talk to us, not just talk to you.
Right. But that's not what happens in most
cases. But that's
cases.
not what happens.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I need you, mom, to understand that, hey, we're in this together. We play a role.
Give me 50%
Give me
of the
we play a role. And don't
Yeah.
And if you're doing something, I won't undo what you've done and said in parenting.
Right.
And don't undermine and undo what the fuck I got going on.
We do this together.
We doing this together.
That's right.
We stand as a united front when we're co-parenting and parenting the child. We stand as a united front. Even if we may disagree on the parenting styles, we still gonna stand as a united front.
Yeah, because we got to make this decision.
Yeah, and so some kind of way it seems as if moms have been programmed to think that this is my child and my child only.
That's right.
Like a possession type
It's the government has taught this to the women in America. This is what they taught them. Because no matter what happens when you go into, let's just say you and your wife been married 30 years, and now you go through a divorce. Well, let me not say that because that's far too much in. Let's say you've been married 4 years, 5 years, and you have a child that's 2, 3 years old, but you're getting a divorce now. The kid is 5. The first person they're going to give access to that child is the mother.
True.
She's going to be the first one they look at.
Yep.
That's the problem, though.
That's exactly
the problem.
it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's exactly it.
And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
The problem and the point, right? Because let's say mom is broke. Matter of fact, let's say we're not married, right?
Okay.
Mom is broke, but dad is a millionaire.
He got to go through custody.
Now check it out. Dad is a millionaire. Now dad goes and say, "Look, I'm more financially stable to take care of the child.
He have to go and fight for that.
So I need you
Yeah.
to give me my child, but we can co-parent 50-50 because I'm more apt to have him in a stable home or her in a stable home because I'm financially well off."
Right.
It seems as if the courts would be like, "No, we're going to let mom keep the child and you pay this amount of money in child support."
They will do that now.
They will. Yeah.
So again, it seems as if although dad has all of his ducks in a row and he's together, it seems as if mom's the way this country does things
It's backwards, bro.
is that mom is the sole parent of the child.
Right.
And make him pay her
Yes.
to have the child.
Fathers have to jump through hoops.
Yeah,
you know.
rather than him being the one to say, "Hey, give me my child." And if he does, he's got to go down to the court, file paperwork,
Like I say, yeah.
go through all the motions of an attorney and all this. Now you got all these child protective services people in your business because they looking to see if you really the man you say you is. They investigating and all this stuff, checking out your job and how much money you making,
Right.
where you really live and all of it. So, you have to go through all of that and they'll make it harder for the man
No, oh yeah. Exactly.
to do. And that's not fair.
No.
It's not. It really is. It isn't. Even in a case, in my case, I can just say my case. I mean, I wouldn't file it myself, but they still treat me like I'm the criminal.
Exactly.
But
That's
you
what
know,
they do.
and I'm concerned about my child,
Right.
but they'll treat me like I just got out of jail. Can you pee in the jar? No, they don't make me pee in the jar, but I'm just saying that's how they make you
Right.
feel.
Right. Like
when
you're a criminal.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm concerned about my daughter. Well, you know, I don't want to hear all that. It's all about my daughter, but it's not fair. And it seems like it's just put primarily on the mother. But again, it goes.
Slash, you said earlier that the government has taught the female to
Yeah, I believe, man, by allowing certain rights for them to have, such as first in line for custody of a child.
right.
I
mean, that's a very good example. It's just crazy to think that they could,
Brainwash.
brainwash.
it's crazy.
I think that it's unconscious.
Yeah.
It's not something that I don't think it's something that the government set out to do to put that mindset in the female. I think that overall the female just started to adopt the mindset based upon the laws that seems to be geared toward them.
Because back in whatever days it was, women liberations had nothing to do with black women. And when the white women took it to another level and say, "Hey, we fighting for these rights, because this, that, and other," the black women was fighting for the same rights and really didn't have to and didn't know how to control the situation. So they thought immediately the government was saying, "Hey, if your man don't take care of you or he don't work, you need to put him on child support. Because the minute you come down here and file for all this assistance that you need, his name is put in the database saying, okay, he finna have to pay for this."
That's true. That's true.
So this is why they use the game the way they do. But they fought for it and didn't know what they was fighting for.
Yeah, and I also think that women, when it comes to their children, and this is going to sound kind of crazy, but they're very possessive, right? Mm-hmm. But they're possessive toward their fathers, the child's father. Now, I get being possessive of your child when it comes to total strangers,
Right.
but not against the person that helped procreate, that procreated with you. You know, I find that
If
kinda
if her motives is to turn her child against the father, which is something, you get what I'm saying? And it doesn't take much for that to happen. You can see it. You just seen it when kids grow up and they despise their father. It's because over the times the children been lied to. It could be a little light lie, like he might show up one weekend, next weekend he say he coming, then don't come. That's one lie. And then over the years, their mom is on the top of it is saying, see what I said? He still didn't show up. See, he said he gonna do this. He didn't do this. Look, he didn't come to your baseball game. All that will eventually make the child, I think, go, you know what? I'm gonna stick with my mama.
Yeah, and
You know what I'm saying?
I get that, and I can see that happening with a couple, or not a couple, with parents who are separated.
Right, and you said both out, in and out, right?
Yeah.
In both.
What happens when you have mothers who are doing that
Internal in the
and
house?
it's in the house? You have men who are there in the home.
Well, those the mothers that baby those kids too.
Either that or they're
know,
preparing to leave.
that's
or-
a different
I
type
mean,
of
why
mother.
would you not want you to be a family? Either she's preparing to leave to go be some other man finna take that spot. Because why would a mother push her child away from that father?
Well,
especially if he's the natural.
well, they not so much as kind of pushing them away. It's just that they're possessive. They're possessive of the child. And so when dad says something, or dad's going to, it's like, oh, no, this is my child.
That's part of that nurturing characteristic.
I was listening.
Say it again, K Money.
So that's part of that nurturing characteristic that females possess. You know, when you look at, like, not to use this comparison, but when looking at like Animal Kingdom or some shit like that, the mother is always possessive of that the little one, you know, and the father is just more in a protective role, you know. So as far as being concerned on some of the little things that we should be considered equally, which I feel we should be considered equally in everything when it comes to the child. I just think again, we're looked at in that protective light and provider role, and that's it. You know, no more, no less.
What happens when you have stepdads? That's a part of the family dynamic now. You have a stepdad that comes into a situation where this woman has a child. Should the stepdad have equal access? Now, keep in mind, the biological dad
He's not
is
around.
also
He's
in the child's
Okay.
life. He's not. Of course, they're not together because she's with you or she's with, the stepdad. But he's a part of the child's life.
Right.
So what happens when there's a stepdad involved? Should he have equal say so in that child's life?
No. Because he live in the household with him?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
I think and let me rephrase that.
I disagree. I was going to say.
I mean, depending on the situation.
Say they're married. She has a child, and and mom and dad is married, but the biological father is a part of that child's life.
Then I think it depends on the agreement between the dad and the mom.
Okay, well,
They need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's understood. What I'm asking is, should stepdad have some equal say so as mom and biological dad?
You get to
Yes.
whoop them and everything.
Yes.
I'm finna say.
Because yes.
Yeah, I'm finna say.
You know why? Because this is your household now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
this is his wife. So that's your child assumption. You have to be a father to this child no matter what.
So
Supposedly.
So stepdad should have equal say so when it comes to their stepchild, although biological father is around.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna tell you why. How would it look? Okay, say use me as the stepdad, and I got my daughter, right? And then say she has 2 daughters, and they're all around the same age, and I bring my daughter over, and all 3 of them just started, I don't know, took lipstick and rolled all over the wall. Now, I'm gonna tear my daughter ass up. But if the other 2 daughters see, oh, stepdaddy can't whoop me.
You got to tear their ass up too.
No. Well, then listen. But if I go to whoop them, and they mama say, nah, you can't whoop my daughter. What you think is gonna happen from then that point on? Them kids gonna know, oh, I can do whatever. He can't whoop me.
Now it's time to go.
So you in the house divided.
It's time
you
to
got
leave.
half of the, yeah, exactly.
'Cause your life's
got
gonna be
half of the
miserable
house
from
can get a
that day
whooping, which
on.
is my daughter, but the other 2 girls just get to watch my daughter get. So no, it won't work.
Slash, I also heard you say that stepdad and mom need to have a talk.
Yeah.
So
No, the real dad, and the mom need to have a talk about the stepdad being
okay.
equally
See,
in this child's life.
I can see that, but here's what I would say.
Let me interject before you
ahead.
get your.
Go ahead.
I think the stepdad should have equal rights only when the biological father is not available or present.
At the time.
Okay.
Right.
As long as he's making the right decision for the child.
I think that the biological father should have primary.
So he can come in and pay the bills, but he can't whoop the kid.
No, I'm not saying
That's
he
not what
can't.
he's saying.
That's yeah.
That's basically what you just
no,
said.
hold
But
on.
that's not what he's saying.
Elaborate. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying if the biological father should have primary say, but again, if he's not available, then stepdad, without even having a question, immediately has equal say over whatever that issue is that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So, before I close, let me touch on that, both of you guys, Slash and K Money. So, Slash, you said that the mom and biological dad need to have a talk about the stepdad. I can see that. K Money, you said that if biological father is not available, then stepdad takes taking immediate action or whatever need to be done. Right.
Correct.
Here's what I think. I think that mom and biological dad, because mom is entering into a marriage, she's getting married to somebody that's going to be parenting the child.
Right.
I think mom doesn't really have to have a major conversation with biological dad. I think that mom needs to let biological dad know, hey, I'm getting married and this is a good guy and blah, 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 blah. And if biological dad know what kind of woman mom is, he should know that mom ain't going to put the child in harm's way.
That's what
Now-
he would hope.
Yeah. Well, we know a lot of dads use that as a crutch, or biological fathers be, man, I don't want nobody around my child. That's stupid shit. But anyway, let me keep going here before I close. So, who really need to have the conversation and the understanding is stepdad and biological dad. Those are the two that needs to talk.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, this is your child, biological dad. But
he in
I
my household.
run this house.
Yeah,
That's right.
I run this house.
Yeah, this is
so
my household.
biological dad, you don't run this house. And biological dad, you don't run my wife. See,
Right.
because sometimes you have biological dads
They try to run the
trying to
life.
run the wife, and you can talk crazy to the wife, and you can do this and that. Now you disrespecting my wife,
Right.
all in the name of trying to make it about the child.
Exactly.
So biological dad need and stepdad need to have the talk.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that stepdad, the only thing that makes him step is the title. But now I'm your goddamn daddy. You got two daddies up in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You got two daddies up in here. So in closing, let me say this here. A child or children, to the moms, if you got a child or you got children, that child doesn't solely belong to you. Of course, if you had them with the father, y'all co-parent. But if you bring a stepdad in, you want that stepdad to accept it. In order for that stepdad to be with you, he has to be able to accept your child, right? Well, you need to be able to accept his role as a father when it comes in dealing with your child. So stop being selfish and stop being manipulative. This includes another dope episode. Tune in tomorrow for Think Thursday. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember, the only way we grow is if you let them know.